Welcome to the Grow Senior Care Podcast. Forget about being average. We're here to redefine what's possible in both your business and your life. Get fired up because we're here to help you simplify your life, grow your business with less hassle, and love what you do. Now, here's your host, Jeremy Fuller from Grow Senior Care Marketing.
Hey, this is Jeremy with Grow Senior Care Marketing, and today I'm going to share with you the story of my good dear friend Fernando, how he doubled his home care agency's revenue, and he went from anywhere from around 700,000 to 3 million annual revenue. Now, there's a caveat there. You say, well, he said he doubled, right? Well, we'll talk about that and we'll break down some of those details. So you don't want to miss this episode, how he went from 700,000 to 3 million annual revenue. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned. And Fernando, it's good to have you here, my friend.
Hey, Jeremy, how are
I'm
you?
doing good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to start these episodes off especially when we're talking to, clients of ours here at Grow Home Care Marketing, which we're rebranding, our name to Grow Senior Care Marketing. But I'd like to find out a little bit about your story. And so if you wouldn't mind just real quickly spending, a few minutes talking about why you got into home care.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me in this podcast. My journey as a home care owner started back in 1995. I was a caregiver and worked for many nursing homes and hospitals and hospice companies, agencies. So, and my wife did as well. So she has kind of the same path that I had as a caregiver. And also, both have a business background. We both went to business school and have business education. So the reason we decided to create short home care services, but was because after working for many of these companies in our market, we saw the need for a company that could be able to have that deeper connection with the people they serve.
Mm-hmm. I'm just setting my AI camera up to follow me.
Oh, okay. So everything is
Yeah,
good.
so for those of you that are listening, I just did a hand signal to Fernando, and I held it 5 fingers, and it starts the camera to start tracking you, and so he stopped. keep going.
All right. So, uh, like I said, we noticed that many of the companies that we were working for, uh, the customers or patients were just another number for
Right,
them. A patient 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. And so forth
and they
and so
treat the
on.
caregivers really the same way.
Correct. So, yeah, they. Uh, I would say the larger companies that we used to work for, there was a lot of professional development, which we were very grateful for because we uh, we were able to gain that knowledge um, and to become professional caregivers because it's a different in my view.
Right,
If you're a caregiver and then if you are a professional caregiver,
right.
there's a to me there's a big difference there. But we gained this knowledge with these companies. But again, from the big ones to the little ones, it was always this transactional relationship with the people they provided the services for. So we wanted to create something that was more intimate, where we had a true connection of service between our client and the services we provide. So, and we call them clients because uh, we we become the trusted advisors, and we we provide them with what they really need, uh, in spite of the company's results. In other words, we don't try to oversell them, undersell them. we sell them and provide for them what they really need in the right amount all the time. So that's that became the big difference between us and the rest of the companies that are in our market, and that helped us fuel our growth throughout the years.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I remember you saying, just hearing you talk previously, you also provided some nutrition plans and some things like that that kind of set you apart, where you're not just providing, like a babysitter service, right?
Correct.
And I think that
So
that's
yeah,
super important because when you're looking at, let's say like my mom needed home care a while back, and when I was looking at some different options to help my mom, uh, even with the company, see, we got into home care marketing about 8 years ago because my wife was a CNA, and she went to go work for this company called My Choice, and it was two sisters and then one of their sons, so a three-person team in the office. The sweetest people you've ever met. And my wife went and worked with them, told them, hey, you need to get in touch with my husband. He's been doing digital marketing for all this time. And so we started working with them. They went from a three-person team to like a 14-person in office team. They just started exploding. And at the end of the day, one thing that they did like was very similar to what you're talking about. It was a kind of a whole person, whole relationship type of care, not just coming and sitting down, but oh, you've got a tub in your shower. Well, did you know that 80% of falls happen in the bathroom? And then out of the 80% of falls that happen, only 50% recover. So think about that. Only 50% recover. What happens to the other 50%, right? And so things like that, they would help. And when My Choice came out and had some people that came out and they were our client, we were doing the marketing for them. Well, guess what, Gus? Or not Gus. Guess what, Fernando? They had some caregivers that came out, and those caregivers would still try to act like babysitters. So even though it was part of their service program, part of what sets them apart, the caregiver would still try to, you know, I guess you could say, just fall back to a babysitter type thing, just sit in a chair and read a book or do their homework and some, if they're in college and stuff. And I brought it up to the owner, and the owner's like, "Oh no, we can't be doing that. That's not what we do. That's not our training." And so how do you recommend home care agency owners even become aware of that? Because sometimes, my mom she was dying, she was feeling so bad. There was no way that she was going to be able to say anything about this. So how would you check in with caregivers to find out some of these things that might be happening?
yeah, that's a great point and an excellent question. Uh, as you know, well, my background is I was a caregiver, so I lived what you're describing. And from many of the companies I used to work for, there there always was this motto that they told us that don't 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 stand still. There's always something to do at home. But in reality, they didn't tell us what could be doing to enhance the service we were providing. So
Hmm.
because of that, I created this wellness program that uh, we teach our caregivers constantly throughout the year, and many times they have in services constantly every month about it, where uh, they are trained in 5 disciplines uh, from this plan, which is one is make the home safe for the client. Some physical exercises like therapy when they come home, there are things they can do. um, some mental exercises to keep their mind sharp and
Hmm.
going um, and the nutrition component, make sure they eat, drink,
Hmm.
and take enough nutrients to sustain their activity throughout the day.
Hmm.
And also there is this socialization and companionship component, uh, which is very important to engage them and keep them company, talk to them,
Right.
play games with them, read the news, things like that.
Right.
So we you know, we teach them how to use these five things when they are providing services in the homes of the seniors, so they can enhance the relationship they have with them, and also the seniors can benefit
Well, how do
this
you know
program.
that they're doing it? How do you know that they're not reverting back to, sitting in a chair watching YouTube videos on their phone?
Correct. That's a great question too. Well, we a few years ago, and in the beginning, we had a problem with that. The thing you're describing now, with how we make sure they're doing this. Besides, we had paper records before. They were checking off, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but in reality was there were that they were doing the things they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we we introduced an electronic platform, actually two things in the electronic way. One is called the Sociavi communicator, which is a device that um, allow us to call in the house and see what's going on, and also the client can call us directly with the touch of a
So is
button.
it like a two-way
And
video feed? Is that
it's
what
a
it is?
it's, it's a two-way communication, but it's very simple. And I chose that device because it's very simple for a senior to use.
Mm-hmm.
All they have to do is touch the screen and start making the phone
Does it
calls.
include video or just audio?
Video, audio,
Okay. Okay.
video and audio. And also in the device, there's built-in mind games, physical exercises,
Okay.
spirituality, the yoga,
Mm-hmm.
nutrition videos, and things like that. So our caregiver has a tool to interact with the client when they're providing the care. So you ask me, how do we know they're doing it? Is because every time they're using this device, it leaves a footprint. What was done
Mm.
on that visit. So that's how we are able to see that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
It's not 100% perfect,
Right.
but I trust it, 90% of the time that it's very accurate on the report we get from the equipment.
Well, it sounds like you're doing something rather than nothing, at least. Obviously, nothing can be perfect. Even the best SOPs, I mean, you can't have perfect standard operating procedures, right? So, but that sounds very. Now, is this something that's built out for home care, or is this just a device that's for like healthcare, but can be used for home care?
Correct. Yeah, it's a device that is built for the senior care setting.
Okay,
So it has multiple uses. It has, for example, medication reminders
hmm.
inside built in. It has appointment reminders built in.
Is
It
this
has all
like an
these
iPad?
exercises.
Does it look like an iPad?
Right. It comes in a form of an iPad, and
Okay.
we install it in our clients' homes, and they get to benefit from this program.
That's awesome. Now, is that something that you own? Well, we don't have to talk too much about it. If people want to find out more, they can reach out to you about that. But that sounds really interesting because if you think about it, with the day and age that we're in, a lot of the caregivers do want to interact digitally versus paper, filling out paper logs and that type of stuff.
Correct.
So that sounds really neat. Some people may know this or may not know this. I'm starting my own home care agency, right? So I'm going to be looking into that myself. That sounds very interesting,
Yeah.
helpful. So your story is very similar to a lot of the stories of why other home care agencies get into home care. A similar story to my own. I did care for my mom, and here in where I'm at here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's not really that many good home care agencies, so we saw an opportunity to partner with somebody and start a home care agency, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's how a lot of home care agencies get into this is they see an opportunity, they see maybe from their own experience the lack of care, or maybe in my case we had extremely good care, but we did the digital marketing for this company called My Choice, and the two owners sold to a big hedge fund. Well, they're no longer
Hmm.
owners now. It became like a faceless company that you know what I mean, that personal touch, that story, the reason why they expect quality, the things that they go look for to improve is now gone. Right now, it's more about
Yeah.
profit margins, numbers, that type of thing. Right. And so I
Correct.
saw an opportunity here in Tulsa, and like, well, let's go into the market, let's make this happen. Um, that's what gets me excited, right? What gets you excited and gets you out of the bed in the morning, Fernando?
Well, what gets me excited every day is to see the outcomes we're providing for our clients every day with every single visit. So and help them. As you know, probably 92% of the seniors want to age at home in the place they love the most. So uh, I believe that it makes me happy to know that with what we're doing, we are empowering them to achieve that goal in a safely manner. So that's really
Mm-hmm.
what motivates me to continue going and and to thrive in this industry.
That's awesome. So, what's your end goal? Are you looking to sell one day? Are you looking to scale and bring in family? What's your end goal building this?
Well, my end goal is it's to continue growing. I have certain metrics that I want to achieve in the next coming years. But hope most likely, probably, uh, we have an exit strategy, and we want to, you know, um, sell the company to hopefully a person or a company that is going to continue with our mission
Yeah,
going forward.
gotcha. So I know that me and you have talked. You're a client of ours here at Grow Senior Care Marketing. Um, And I'd like to, what we're going to get into a little bit about how you grew here in a minute. Okay. And we're going to break that down. And I'd like to think that we had a part in that. I'll let you, we haven't
Of course.
talked about the details yet. So I'm not, saying
Yeah.
anything. And, but we'll break that down in a minute. But I know that it all starts with the getting the lead in the first place. So I know that we've been able to help you get more leads. But I would like you to share. I know that just from talking with you, you have a very interesting and unique sales process from the point that you get the phone call all the way to when you go, conduct a home care assessment, all the way to the signed agreement and then the follow up. So, can you kind of break down your sales process from start to finish for us, real quick?
Sure. So our sales process is nothing really complicated. Uh, a few years ago, I was trying to find this magic stone to help me sell more home care, and it was like a fool's quest because I after educating myself a lot, throughout the years, uh, all the experts were saying if you do the simple thing, things are going to happen for you. So that changed my mindset in the sense of looking for this magic stone or ball
The easy
to
button.
sell more.
Yeah.
Right, the easy button, correct. So we started doing uh, the same, which is we provide a lot of value upfront for our clients, of prospect clients in this case. We provide extreme value for them, and once they see this value, they get directed to either a landing page or a sign up for this email, so they get into our email list, and then we put them into a nurturing campaign where they receive a series of communications, on certain intervals that are carefully crafted, and then we they take the initiative to call us from these communications, and then we answer the phone call, and then we go through a process which is fairly simple to us. Well, we start with hearing their problem, what's causing pain for them,
Hmm.
and then we tell them that we have the solution for their pain. We give them examples of how we can solve their pain, and then we present to them how their life is going to look after they secure our services and to fix their pain. And after that, the magic happens. They say, well, where do I sign up? It's
So they're signing up on the
that's
phone.
that's on the phone. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
fairly simple. We convert 100% of our leads via phone call.
Wow. Wow. And that's
Yeah,
kind of, you don't hear that a lot. I think I've heard maybe a handful of other home care agencies that are able to convert home care clients on the phone. That's
yeah,
crazy. So you're converting them
yeah.
on the phone. Are they signing like a digital document to come on board?
Correct. So with our digital transformation started, right after COVID. We were doing everything by paper before COVID. So we took upon ourselves to change that because we didn't know what's going to happen in the future, and we
Yeah.
didn't know if we are going to have a chance to have the living room visit. That's the usual
Right.
thing in home care. So we transitioned to this digital technology, and we are able to send all our admission documents and payment forms and everything via a portal. People sign everything there, and it comes back to us, and then we get the documentation, and from that point on, the machinery start working. Sending the nurse,
Hmm.
uh, the scheduler start working on the schedule, communications via phone, and then we start services. Usually, thanks to technology, we were able to cut down that process from a week, sometimes, to from the point the lead says send me the documents and sign, to start services in 24 to 48 hours.
Wow. So let me get this. Let me
So
get this straight. So a phone call's coming in. Now, and let me back up here. I know you're using Automized Growth, our software, so
yeah,
shameless plug there. So
yeah,
a lead might come in through, say, live chat. Maybe they never called, right? Good example.
right,
They identified that they were a potential client. They wanted home care services. It's going to start drip feeding. Automized Growth is going to start drip feeding those nurturing text messages, those campaigns. Then it's going to
correct.
ask them to, does it ask them to book a call? Because I know that you did a lot of customization. Are you asking them to book a call,
Yeah,
or are you just having prompts for them to call the number? How are you doing that?
yeah. We on the client side, we shied away from the book a call,
Okay.
and we tell them the call to action is call us.
Okay.
Call us now.
And then you just put the phone number
And
in the text message for them to click and
we put
call.
the phone number in the text
Okay.
message and the email, so the client act on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they call in and you're able to get your close rate from that call that's booked. You go over their problems. I like what you said there. You're able to paint a picture of how their life's going to look like, whether it's the son that's taking care of his mom after he gets off work and he's got a
correct.
family and he's just, and that was me like 3 years ago, right?
Right,
My mom did not want other people caring for her, right? And so I was burning both ends at the stick trying to figure this out. So you're trying to paint a picture of what life's going to look like. I like that because people aren't buying home care. A lot of people,
correct.
they're buying peace of mind, right? They're
Divine
buying
peace of mind.
freedom,
Correct.
right? And so at the end of they're buying security. They're buying
Right,
that's what they're buying at the end of the day. And I think we have to
right,
understand what we're selling, right? And
correct,
because at the end of the day, if we don't understand what we're selling, we're not going to have high close rates, right? And so that's
correct.
really good at what you said there. And if you are interested in hearing more about Fernando's sales process, maybe we'll have you back, Fernando, if there's a demand and there's a lot of people that want to hear that. And maybe we can break down that phone call, how that looks like, and maybe you can really get into
Sure.
specifics. I know we don't have a ton of time here, but just share with us real quickly one more time. So they call in.
They call in.
Uh-huh.
So uh, usually when the call come in, either they get my wife or myself. We are the salespeople for the company. So, and the first step of the call is find out who is the person that needs the care, where are located, if they live alone,
Mm-hmm.
do they
Mm-hmm.
have any pets, any what are the conditions of the
Yeah, so you're
house where
going
they
through the
are. Where
questionnaire. Okay.
to the question, right? So if they're coming from a rehab, are they home right now? So once we get those small details, and it's all fluent. It's not like I'm telling you right now. It's
Right.
all in a fluent conversation, uh, and people tend to share that because they're in pain, so they want somebody to listen to them.
Right.
So then once we collect some of those details, we go into, well, what's going on with mom, what's happening with your father,
Mm.
what's happening, what's the problem. So then they the person elaborates on, further. My mom is in the rehab. She fell, she broke her hip. She's 89 years old. She lives alone. I'm overwhelmed. I have my husband, my life, my work, and
Right.
then I have to deal with my mom that lives alone. So the pain is it's there. You can see in the way they're talking to
Yeah.
you that they have this problem. So we use that information and repackage that information real quick into the solution.
Hmm.
And my wife and I and another other member of the team is trained into doing that. So while you listen to the person, you're already thinking of how to um, tailor the services we provide
Right.
to their pain they're manifesting in the
Right.
conversation.
So
So
where did you learn this process from? I know that you get a lot of home care coaching from Greg Mazza, Steve Wise. Where did you hear this method? What was it, a coach in the industry or just somewhere else entirely?
yeah, well, uh, the first person that really opened my mind was Greg Massa with his programs. Because in the beginning, I had no idea what home care was. I didn't know how to sell home care. I had no idea what I was doing. So I discovered Greg, I think back in 2017, and then I signed up for his programs and went to his live events, and I got some knowledge from there. And also he opened my eyes, basically opened my mind
Hmm.
as to what do I need to know to make myself better. So then I participated also with Steve Wise in some of his programs as well. That was more mind opening and mind culturing for me. And then at one point in my life, maybe 5 years ago, I decided I have to start reading. I have to start reading, educating myself, and I have to grow personally to help my company grow.
Hmm.
So one of the books that I read first it's called Story Brand by Donald
Yep.
Miller,
Yep.
and this process of selling is described in the book in detail, and it's basically the hero's journey.
Yeah.
You have a hero that needs a guide, and the hero has a pain, and there's stakes in the story that if you don't do this, you can go south, or if
Hmm.
you do that, you can go north,
Yeah.
and there's an outcome to the
And you
story.
know what's funny is that a lot of people listening to this are going to be Donald Miller, who? Now, so just so you know,
Yeah.
Donald Miller's not specifically in home care. Donald Miller's in
No.
multiple niches, and he's really more, I would say, digital. You can apply most of his stuff to the phone call, like what you're talking about. Um, and one of the reasons why you came on board with us, Fernando, if I remember correctly, was that you found out we did story brand on the website. Yeah.
Correct. So uh yeah, so I had a website, when we opened the company, and like I said, I had no idea. I said I need a website, so I hired somebody to do a website. And then I discovered, Donald Miller and his framework.
Hmm.
He calls it story brand framework,
Hmm.
which is extremely powerful. And at that point, I decided to start looking for a company that was could create a website for me based on this story brand framework. So um, that's how I found you. We had we had a couple conversations, and then you understood what I needed, what I wanted, and then I retain your services, and then you created this beautiful website based on the story brand
And I
framework.
think that helps too. I think now we're kind of piecing together a little bit more here because when people go through your website, they're going through the story brand framework, and then when they call,
Correct.
they're being reinserted back into the story brand framework, and they don't even know it, right? And we're
Correct.
not doing anything wrong. It's not like we're putting a
No,
spell on them or anything.
it's
But
not
right,
manipulation or
right.
anything.
It's
It's
just the journey
yeah,
that the mind needs to go through to
correct.
be able to make a decision, right?
Correct.
So that's awesome. That's really cool. Um, let's talk about what you attribute your growth to. So you've got coaching, you've
Yeah.
got story brand, and we kind of touched on story brand. We've kind of touched on the turning your agency into a digital agency because of COVID and you not knowing what the future looked like. Um, Before we get into answering that question, what do you attribute your growth to? Let's talk about where you came from with growth. So, you had mentioned back in March 4th, 2020, you got shut down because of COVID. Kind of break down your numbers for the audience for us and show us
Right.
kind of where you were at and where you closed out the year on 2019, what happened 2020, and so forth.
Right. So, well, 2019, we closed the year. I believe it's 1.5, million dollars in revenue. Then March 3rd came in. COVID. It's in the country, and March 4th, we get the phone calls from our clients. So basically, we lost about 70% of our business overnight.
Woo! My goodness.
70%. Right. So, like at the time, nobody knew what was going to happen. With COVID.
Yeah.
You know, we were thinking we have to shut down because we're in healthcare, and then everything is, the clients don't want this, the caregivers. We don't know any of the protocols. How to handle somebody with COVID and
Right.
things of that sort. So everything was unknown
Right.
at the time. Um, so we we were able to retain um, some clients because they truly needed the service, so they had no choice but to keep us. And we implemented, the measures that the CDC was telling us to use at the
Right.
time to
Right.
prevent the spread and all that. Uh, and also, we were able to sign a few more clients, throughout the year. Uh, but that year, we closed the year at around probably 750, $800,000
Mm-hmm.
uh, on 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I used that time, in the interim where we were very slow to start my education process, my personal growth process,
Mm-hmm.
or what needed to be done to turn the ship around, basically.
Right.
Because if I wasn't able to turn this around, we probably were going to be out of business
Mm-hmm.
the next year. Well, in 21, things started opening up, and I made the decision to transition from paper to digital. So we signed up with Swift Apps at the time, and then the pure fact that we were able to implement Swift Apps into our operations, we went from 2 3 days to do things to 2 hours or 1 hour
Wow.
to to complete tasks that took us days before.
Wow.
So that accelerated our processes tremendously.
And then you can use that
Uh,
time for other things like marketing or
correct,
visiting and
correct,
training. Yeah. Gotcha.
correct. So then I saw that benefit, and then I think at the time that's when we started talking, and I contacted you, and you told me that uh, Automize, you have this system Automize,
Mm-hmm.
that you were able to set up these campaigns, and the system
So
talks
that's
to the
in
people. And
2021.
2021,
Okay.
correct. And so, and that was exactly what I was looking for, because all the books I was reading were talking about email automations and drip
Texting.
campaigns
Yeah.
and segmentation and texting and things like that. So I had none of that. I didn't know anything about that. So that's when I found you, and we got to work together, and created this amazing automation machinery for my business, and that alone speeded up our selling process and recruiting process tremendously. So
And I'll just touch on
on
that real quick. So, not to promote it, because look, people don't have to use our product. But like what you said, you're reading a lot of books talking about, hey, what makes a successful business? Or, if you're in the service business, you could take home care and move that to a side and just say a service business that provides a service to clients. Well, again, you're not necessarily selling whatever service that is, you're selling the solution that comes with it, right? So in home care, it's the peace of mind, it's the freedom, right? So it's the security. So when you're doing the automations, right? In any business, you need automations, right? You need texting, you need emailing, because texting has a 98% open rate. Emailing has somewhere around 15 to 20% open rate. So emailing is not the best, if you're trying to get people to look at your material. Now, we do actually have a very high open rate if it's in an automated sequence, right? Or in a drip feed
right,
sequence, while they're in the sales process of reaching out, you actually get a little bit higher open rates with emails. But texting is still king, right? So with that being said, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you need some kind of drip feed. And so that's in a lot of these books, these general books that you were reading at that time, right? So
right,
I think it's so opportunity, just an opportunity that we got to meet while you're learning
right,
that, and that's what we
right.
do. So that's awesome. So 2021, what did you close the year out on that?
2021, we closed at
Okay,
1.6.
so you doubled your revenue from 2020. You closed out at 700,000, and
Right,
you doubled in 1 year.
right, basically, correct.
Okay, and then what it kind of walk us through 2022 up to
Well,
2023.
yeah, 2022, we kept improving our automations and improving our processes, and basically we sped up everything inside the agency. Everything was moving faster,
Hmm.
really faster, and everything was churning really fast inside the
Because you
agency.
can do
So
more with
right,
automation with Swift Ops. I don't have that system. I don't know everything you can do, but if it's
right,
freeing up your time where you don't need to spend 3 days and you can do it in a couple hours in Swift Ops, now you can take on
correct,
more clients with less
correct,
staff, so you have better margins and you can close
correct,
more.
correct. So we started growing tremendously. We're getting clients after clients after clients, and the documents were going out, coming in, and the system was working
And of course,
perfectly
we were
in that
doing
sense.
SEO for you. I want to throw that in there.
And, right, and then right, you started doing SEO for us. I think that was mid 2021. You started doing SEO because that was something new that we never did before, and we started getting leads from Google that we never had before. And so the year was super fast. In 2022, we closed at 2.2 million dollars
That's
in revenue
awesome.
for that year.
That's awesome.
So, and now we're moving forward 2023, and we're about 45 days of the end of the year, and the projection is we're going to close above $3 million this year. In 23 we introduced sorry in the mid 22 we introduced the online education for our workforce. So we were able to scale our training. Now, what took weeks of training, now it takes 1 day for them to do at home, and they can repeat
Hmm.
that every month, so they can watch the trainings every month on demand. So we were able to triple our workforce in the interim because of all this, because Swift apps, because of the recruiting system we implemented with Automize. We hire a virtual assistant too as well, that's helping us
Hmm.
expedite more and accelerate our growth more. So all these things are working together now, and
Hmm.
uh, those things we implemented have made us reach that level of revenue at the end of the year
Right.
that we're gonna achieve.
That's really
So
good.
the
So,
goal,
if you look
yeah,
at a business, there's things in a business like cogwheels, right? And
right,
sometimes home care agencies, a cogwheel's stuck and they don't know it, right? They just know that the cart's not moving as fast or even moving at all. So I want to encourage you, if you're listening to this and you're feeling like, man, why aren't I growing? I feel like I'm putting in time, I'm putting in the effort, and I come home exhausted. You may not be fixing the right cogwheel, right? There's
right,
certain things in your business where if you fix it, you're going to see tremendous growth, like Fernando has saw. And it sounds like to me, Fernando, what you did was you took that time off and you went and you identified certain sectors, cogwheels of your business. You went and got books, you went and found experts, you got automation from our company. You went in 2000, was it 22? I think is when we started doing SEO to generate more leads. So you went and started working on your cogwheels. It sounded like.
correct. So yeah, basically, I use Greg in one of his live Facebook things he does. Uh, Talked about a thing that's called pillars, the pillars of growth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I went deep into that mindset, and he told me that he got that information, that knowledge from a gentleman called Jay Abrahams, which
Mm-hmm.
is a
Mm-hmm.
marketing guru
Yeah.
from the 70s, from the 80s, from the 90s, that has sold billions of dollars for companies with his
Yeah.
systems. So I went deep in his teachings, and from those teachings, I started developing my pillars to make help my revenue growth, and that's what's working right now for us. And we keep improving and implementing new pillars to help our revenue continue growing
That's awesome.
throughout the year.
So you went from 1.4 million in 2019 to dropping down to 700,000 in 2020, back up in 2021 to what was it, 1.6, or did you say
Correct.
1.5?
1.6.
And then you just kept growing from there. So that, if you had a drop in revenue, that should give you some hope you can come back. Fernando, what would you tell somebody, and just real quick, because we're going to wrap this up soon, but real quick, and less than say a minute or around a minute, what would you recommend somebody that's stuck at a million or 1.5 million in revenue so that they could get to 3 million revenue? What's one thing that you'd
Yeah.
recommend?
Well, a few things that come to mind. Um, First of all, the the mindset that got you to 1 million or 1.5 million is not the same mindset that's going to get you to the next stage. So that implies that some personal growth has to happen for you to be able to take your company to that level of revenue or more. Um, Second of all, keep in mind or know that data is king. You have to have data to know where you're going and to fuel your growth. Um, Third, you need to implement. Um, you need to digitize your agency. Basically, you need to implement. You need to start using the softwares available out there, like Swift Apps or Smart Care, one of those companies. Also, you need to have uh, email and text drip campaigns, nurturing campaigns. You need to understand uh, the value of the relationship you're going to create with your client. So you need to get off the mindset of the transactional relationship. You need to be in the mindset of the trusted
That's
advisor
good.
relationship. And if you implement a few of those things and educate yourself, and there's some great books out there like Story Brand, Business Made Simple, Marketing Made Simple, the The Ultimate Sales Machine is an amazing book. And if you read some of those books,
I got like all those
you
books on my shelf behind me.
yeah, you are going to change your business for the better. That's what it is. It's a mindset.
That's awesome.
It's a mindset.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Fernando, for being on our show today. And if you're one of those home care agency owners where you feel like you've been struggling, you feel like you've been, at the grind, at the mill, just pushing and not feeling like you're making progress, I would encourage you, read some of those books, start with self-development, get a home care coach. I've got a coach in my marketing agency. He's a digital marketing coach. With the home care agency that we're starting here in Tulsa, I'm going to be getting a home care coach. So, you don't know what you don't know, right? And
Right.
so if you don't know how to, let's put it this way, if you don't know how to get to the other side of the mountain, you're never going to be able to get to the other side of the mountain. You got to know the path,
Right.
right? If you just
Correct.
start climbing it, hey, you could fall off, you could hurt yourself. There's so many bad things that could happen if you just start climbing a mountain, right? Can you do it?
Right.
Sure. But I would rather, me personally, go find a guide, right? That's already been up the mountain and on the other side and know what to expect and all that kind of details. So
Right.
if you don't know what you don't know, go find somebody that does. Get a coach, right? That's my recommendation. Fernando shared that. Really self-development is key. So start there. Another thing, Grow Senior Care Marketing. We're here for you. We've got the automation to help you automate some of your hiring of your caregivers. We've got automations for potential clients' leads, try to get them closer to the finish line to say yes. I mean, I think it's amazing that Fernando's able to say that a lot of people are closing on the phone. And the reason why is because we're matching up all the website, all the nurturing campaigns, and then when they get on the phone, they're hearing the same messaging all the way through with the story brand messaging to get them closer to the finish line. So some stuff like that's going to help you. We're here for you. Grow seniorcaremarketing.com. Check us out. We'd be happy to look at what you're doing for your digital marketing, see if we can do some evaluations to get you closer to the finish line for your digital marketing. Check us out. We're here for you. Have a blessed day. Thanks for listening.